stopping by our Gap Chat today. Don and I have already started without you. We've been talking, I think, for probably 10 minutes here. And I thought maybe we were recording. And I was thinking, this is going to be an interesting discussion for people because Don's been talking about this class and these family members and friends that are involved in this Talmud study, talking about the laws in rabbinic Judaism and so on. And I said to him, this is so fascinating to me because there's something in the passage that's given to us in the lectionary reading for this week that I've really wanted to talk with you about for some time. So I take it you're all primed and ready.
I've had my coffee.
Had your coffee. Well, good. Don, I think you and I are going to be on the same page on this one.
Right.
There is a reading from the Gospel of John, chapter 10, this week. And this is a part of the series in John that are called the I am sayings, the ego eimi, I am. And Jesus will say no less than 23 times, I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. I am the resurrection and the life. There's all of these, I am the good shepherd,
Right.
things that people recognize. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And then in today's passage, Jesus says that I am the door. I am the gate to the sheepfold where the sheep are kept. This troubles me sometimes, Don, because there are those people on the Christian side. It's kind of like with the Talmud, and I had asked you what's the right answer? And you said, well, who knows? You know, the rabbis sort of debate this back and forth. But there are some Christian brothers and sisters, and I'll even go so far as to say some good Christian brothers and sisters who read these kind of passages in very exclusive ways. That is to say that if they read like in today's reading, I am the gate, whoever enters through me will be saved.
Right.
Things like that.
Or that passage, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me.
Yes. And I think it's so interesting how people interpret that passage in a very divisive, exclusionary way, so that they will want to say, and they always have the correct answer, you know, that they'll say, well, what that means is that the Jews, the Hindus, the Buddhists, nobody but our form of Christianity is going to be saved.
Right.
We know people like that, don't we, Don?
I used to. I know fewer of them than I used to.
Yeah.
They've abandoned me.
Yeah. Well,
yes, we do. We certainly do, and we know people that, and their reasoning is often, you know, it's in the Bible. The Bible said it. End of discussion.
And therein lies the problem. There's something I talked about in a video for Sunday, Don, about proof texting and how what that means that instead of reading an ancient text like the Bible and letting it speak to me, I read into that passage what I want to hear or what I want to see. That's proof texting, and that's not reading with a sense of openness, curiosity, integrity, or honesty. So when I read this passage, um, I'll be honest with you, Don, I don't have a lot of problem with it, but I certainly don't see it as a statement of exclusivity. I actually see it as something of a universal truth. And I would apply this passage about the gate and Jesus being the gatekeeper to the same standard I would the oft quoted passage that you spoke about in John. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. And some of our Christian friends say, well, can't you just see that? It's as plain as the nose on your face. And they say, what that means is nobody is saved unless they are a Christian. But I don't think it's saying that. I think what it's saying is like, uh, I look at it this way with this passage this week. I am the gate. What is the gate? Is the gate Jesus, or is what Jesus saying is that the gate that you see through me, that you go through to receive salvation, is the gate, is the path of my way? So what I'm talking about in Jesus's way, and I think this is honest to the Gospel of John, that way is that path of dying to our old selves, rising to a new self, a new identity lived in God's realm. And so instead of it being, you have to say these words about Jesus and believe these things in Jesus and nobody else, no other religion, I see this as more Jesus's way is the way of mercy, of justice, of love, forgiveness. And it's that way of love that as we live, and that's the gate we go through. That is a very credible gate that I think is honest to the Gospel of John. And I don't see why we have to make that exclusive.
I agree. I think, and
Thought we'd be on the same page.
and living in that way is what puts me in a right relationship with God, with the divine.
Indeed.
I would just add a side, somewhat radical note
Okay.
from our common and much admired friend Scott Stoner.
Ah,
You know, Scott used to have a Thursday morning Eucharist and lectionary study at oh gosh, what was the church in River Hills?
Christopher's.
Yes,
St.
yes,
Christopher's.
St. Christopher's. And I just remember on that particular passage it came up in the lectionary, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one cometh unto the Father but by me. And I remember Scott reading that and looking around the table and then saying, I don't think Jesus said that. I remember we had the most interesting discussion whether Jesus would ever say something like that, especially with an intention of exclusivity, the way it's been understood, or whether that might be something that the writer of the Gospel of John would really wish that Jesus had said, and wish that he had said it so much that he just decided, I'll just put that in there. But in any event, the sense of exclusivity, the sense that God would send Jesus, and that would result in a narrowing of the way.
I don't believe that.
And making it more makes no sense at all. It certainly doesn't make sense that a loving God would
No,
come to us to make it so that it would be more difficult.
but I don't have a problem. I don't think Jesus said this. I think it's more reflective of John's community. But I don't have a problem seeing that Jesus might have said this. And I'll tell you why. I don't think every path leads to salvation. Now, what I mean by that is I think evil, um, abuse, these kinds of violences, they will not lead to salvation, nor how this passage ends. I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. I don't think that everything we do in life can lead to salvation. I think there are things that take us away from that kind of life. Salvation coming from the Latin word meaning healing or wholeness.
Right.
There are some things that make us more whole. Loving one another, forgiving one another, extending mercy to one another, living in a just way. These are the ways of Jesus. And so I can see that if Jesus were to have said, I am the gate, I am the door.
Yeah.
This is the door. And this is what leads to salvation. I don't think it has to do, Don, with what religion you are. I think that if somebody says, well, he's Buddhist or she's Hindu, I said, great. Are they a good Buddhist? Are they a good Hindu? I hope I'm a good Christian. I hope I live in a way that reflects the realities of my faith integrated into my life.
That
But
makes
I think this is the gate. And when these statements of I am, I think these reflect something of the soul or the heart of God. I am the bread of life, meaning
yes.
if you want to be nurtured and fed, live in my realm. I'm the light of the world.
Yeah.
I can show you the way. I am the gate. Come through this way, not these other ways, and you will know salvation.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think that's very consistent what you're saying with Jesus later in John when he asks the disciples, commands the disciples to love as they have been loved. To love mercifully, to love openly, to love generously.
That's a great point. And
Yeah,
doesn't that capture it? And some people will, that phrase, love God, love others, the rest is all details.
yeah,
But that captures something real, that loving is not necessarily an easy thing to do sometimes. But I think that's the door, that's the path, that's the gate.
yeah. Yes, that's absolutely true. Yep,
Wow.
that'll preach.
Hey, you see, we were talking about the Talmud
Mhm.
and the debates and trying to refine and define.
Right.
And that's sort of the same thing here. I think when you read scriptures that are 2,000, 3,000 years old, um, sometimes you need to pause a little and consider what the context is and what life looks like now and how you read with 21st century eyes something that is a few thousand years old. You
Yes.
might want to approach it with a little humbleness and a pause to really understand what it's saying to us instead of what we want it to say to us.
Oh, yes, yes. We need to read scripture and struggle with our own confirmation bias, our own I want it to I don't want it to say anything that disturbs me. I
Yeah,
want it to say something that fits with what I already want to believe.
I want confirmation,
Yeah, and
not, not spiritual growth.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I knew I'd be a little wiser if I talked to you today.
Man, me as well.
Oh, Rabbi, and your beard is getting so long in this corona crisis. You look like you're full of wisdom.
Well, I'm full.
Okay. Well, listen, folks, thanks for joining us on this Gap Chat. We'll see you again soon. This is Jim McKenzie and Don Niederfrank saying stay well, stay healthy, stay faithful. We'll see you soon.